Hey folks, welcome to CIS 1500 for winter 2025. Glad to have you here. Sorry, I've been reworking a couple things based on some feedback and stuff I've been reading. Wanted to try a couple new things in the course, so I'm just now getting the syllabus posted for you here. But in general, we're going to run Thursday at noon till the following Thursday at noon. I found that having stuff due on Monday, especially like Monday, like beginning of Monday, Sunday night, made for lots of questions over the weekend. And then I realized I don't have to make stuff due that time. So weekly content will open Thursday at noon. Everything will be due the following Thursday at noon. So you've got some time to start it during the week if you want. You've got some time to work on it at the weekend. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you've got time to ask me questions when I'm more often around and less busy doing stuff on the weekend. So let me go over the syllabus here. I know you folks know how to read. I just want to pick out some of the highlights for you here. This is my email address. This is my cell phone number. I do have a desk phone, but it's a big hassle to have voicemails there and things. Just use my cell phone. It's much easier. Call or text me anytime. I was on call 24 hours a day for about 12 years in industry before I retired out of industry and moved to teaching full time. So basically my phone is always on silent now because it can be. I was really excited to not have to have it on and be able to wake me up at 3 in the morning anymore. So yeah, call me, text me anytime. It's no problem. Let me know what time is a good time to call back because I am often up really late at night and not early in the morning. So when I call people back at 11 p.m., because that's when my kids are asleep and I can get some work done, people are like, why are you calling me? I have to work at 7 in the morning. So just let me know what time is good to call back. I've got some standing office hours. You can schedule appointments, please, via my Calendly link here. Monday afternoons, Wednesday before my Wednesday class, Friday afternoons, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 11 to 12 p.m. Please note, I do not have any AM office hours. At least once or twice a semester, I have somebody show up at 11 a.m. and they're like, I'm here for your office hours appointments. Where are you? And I say, did you check the calendar? I think you meant 11 p.m. And they're like, oh, okay. So I find a lot of people like the later hours. People tend to be later people more often than morning people, but that's just me. So the Calendly link is here. It works out really nice. You just go find a time that works for you. Say, hey, how about this time at 2:30? And you go next. You put in your name, email address, and then what do you want to talk about? And then it sends us both a calendar appointment and blocks that time off so no one else can book it. There are 15-minute slots here. That's generally enough time to get through anything you want to talk about. If we need to book another one, we can. Not too big of a deal. And most everyone wants to meet virtually over Zoom. And again, the campus isn't open late at night anyway here. So we can meet over Zoom. If you want to meet in person, Wednesdays are probably best because that's before my Wednesday class at the Orchard Ridge campus. But no one really wants to drive. I've had one person want to drive in to meet me. But if you want to, that's fine. I like talking to people. So you have 2 online sections here for 1500. They are online asynchronous, which means we don't have any live meetings that are required. I might try and offer in an occasional optional meeting if anyone wants to meet over a Zoom call or something like that, but typically people just come to my office hours if they have questions. So we meet on D2L. This is a copy paste from the course catalog, nothing interesting here. The outcomes, none of this probably makes sense until we've actually learned some of the stuff, so we'll skip over that for now. Our textbook is a free open educational resource that I copied from Mr. David Eck, who is fantastic. I don't know if he still hosts it on his side or not here, but he finally retired 2 years ago, right? This was the last time he updated the book, and it does a pretty good job. You know, it's not quite as nice as the $200 book from Pearson, but it's not $200. So, you know, it's got a little bit of trade-offs here and there. So I like using this. We kind of pick and choose some of the content here. We're not going to go through all of it because some of it gets to be a little bit more advanced stuff you'll cover in 2151, the object-oriented programming in Java, and you can get into those sort of concepts when we get there. So we'll work through that. And then we use a bunch of other things, right? We have a lot of tools as developers. So I like using GitHub because that is a fantastic place to put source code, and you don't have to email me attachments. You don't have to zip stuff up and put it in D2L because that's just annoying for everybody. So we'll use GitHub. I'll show you how to do it in all the videos. Don't worry. After you've done it 15 times, you'll feel a whole lot more comfortable with it. So it just is going to take a little bit of practice. I use the GitHub desktop client. The tools we use do work with Git directly, but because I teach a bunch of different languages, if I just use the GitHub desktop client, it's the same no matter what other tool I'm using, and it works out well for me. I'm a fan of Discord. I think it's actually modern and works out well for things. I have a Discord server set up. You can join here if you like. You don't have to. And then you'll go in and you can get access to a class-specific channel. It helps you organize the conversations there. There's a place to post your memes, because if you can't laugh, you have to cry. We'll be using IntelliJ IDEA. Please use the Community Edition. When you go download this one here, the download page starts you at, here's their ultimate, the paid for version. just scroll on down. And I know it doesn't look like there's anything here, but scroll down and they're like, oh, here's the free one, by the way. But they just don't really advertise it well on the main page. So scroll down, find that one there when you go. And then the scene builder tool we get to in the later third of the semester. We don't need that one right away, but you can go download it if you want. Or you could use the college virtual desktop if you'd like. Now the problem with the virtual desktop is it doesn't save files, but it works out okay because we're going to use GitHub. So everything we do we'll put in GitHub. So all you need to do when you start is go get your repository and then open it from there. So it just adds like 2 extra steps. I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to cheating because I am a firm believer that cheaters should not get degrees. And I'd like to convince all of you that that's in your best interest as well, because ideally when you graduate from OCC, that employers, when they look at you, think you probably know a thing or two. So if they hire someone who graduated from OCC and they cheated their way through school and can't do the work because they don't know how to do anything anymore because they didn't actually learn anything, they're going to think OCC does a bad job educating people and not want to hire other OCC grads. So don't let your classmates cheat, right? It's in your own best interest. Just tell them to do the work. It's not that hard, I promise. If you put the time, energy, and effort in, you'll get across the finish line. If you're not sure, ask me. Like, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Don't worry. I'm not going to bite your head off. That's fine. So we're going to cite your source, right? In academia, the most often thing that happens is plagiarism, where you turn in someone else's words, ideas, or work, and you put your name on it. You didn't cite your source. But like an English paper, you can't turn in one giant quotation, right? I can't say, oh, hey, here's my paper, quote, here's my source, end quote, right? You need to have original effort here. So you're going to be adding original effort, and that needs to be the bulk of your work, like at least 51%, right? It needs to be your work here. I know things like ChatGPT exist. I'm well aware of it. I know professional developers use all sorts of AI-related tools to make them more efficient in programming. It's not going to do everything. And for you to be able to use it to help you be efficient, you need to understand what it's doing so that when it can't do all the hard things, you can go do those last mile tweaks and integrations and changes and things that you need to do to get it to solve your specific problem. So we need to learn the basics. It's a tool we're going to use. It's going to automate some of the boring stuff for us as we go. But we're not going to just ask ChatGPT, paste in the answer, and quote it and say, here, I got an answer from the chatbot, right? There's no original work there. So we're going to use it in a limited fashion. That being said, Chegg.com is completely off limits. They are a terrible company. I hope they go out of business. They're getting sued by Pearson, who's also a terrible company. I hope they both lose. I guess the lawyers win at that point, but that's fine. You can't cite anything from Chegg. That immediate disqualification for using Chegg. They are terrible people. They give professors the ability to upload a final exam, and they'll say, for 48 hours, we'll keep these questions from showing up on our site and our, quote, paid tutoring service, where you pay for answers. So you get paid to cheat, essentially. But after 48 hours, they say, no, you know what? We're going to take the money and let people post this stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I have to go issue a takedown every time my stuff shows up on Chegg, and to do that, I have to get the dean to sign a piece of paper, and then I have to turn that into them, and it's this whole ugly long process, and it sucks. I hate it. So just stay off of Chegg. They piss me off. The OCC handbook, this was a copy-paste about them. And just FYI, sharing academic materials without permission, which nobody gives you permission to share them, like posting stuff on Chegg, posting stuff on Course Hero, is a violation of the policy. This is not your material to go and share. Right? So just don't do stuff like that, please. And people who aid and abet, which is such a fun term here, as well as those who are doing it, also are a violation of the policy. So when your classmate says, hey, I just want to see how you solved the problem, tell them to go get lost, right? Do their own work, right? You know, all of that being said, I am more than happy when people talk to each other. It's really boring and lonely to be a developer not working on a team and to be all by yourself. So you are welcome to collaborate in English. Talk about things in English. I set up the Discord server on purpose. You can chat about the assignments in English. The purpose of the class and what we're learning is how do we take problems and solve them in code. That's the part we're learning here. So talk about the problem all you want. Here, I think I'm going to do this step, and then I think I'm going to do this, and I'd like to do this thing next in English. You can go do the Java translation yourself. Our code of conduct is a copy-paste. Make sure you keep the classroom corridors quiet for this online class. Sorry, it's just a copy-paste thing here. All right, what everyone seems to care about is the grading policy. You get weighted scores here. So of all of the labs, they make up 10% of your score. Just because a lab is worth 10 points and a project is worth 10 points, they're not really the same 10 points. Right? They're points within the category. So all the labs make up 10% of your grade. These are essentially your participation points. Think of labs as like, we've spent 2 or 3 hours in class, and now it's time for you to try something where I could essentially help you if you need it over your shoulder, and work with a partner. Hey, work with the person next to you here to get this thing done. So collaborate on labs, that's fantastic. You'll be required to post something in the discussion forum and then reply to it. So the idea is you post it within the first week. Ideally, you get the reply done that same week. But I found out every time there's a deadline, people wait until the deadline to post things. So if your reply is also due that same week, it makes it just really crappy to get replies in. So first post within a week, and then the reply within the next week if you need the additional time. Ideally, everyone is caught up with it here, and we're not always working a week behind, but that's how things go. We'll have 4 projects throughout the semester. They make up 30% of your score. We'll have quizzes basically on every chapter. Every week we'll have a quiz. They make up 10% of your score. They're open book, open notes, open internet quizzes, not open neighbor. Right? The goal of the quizzes is to get you to open the textbook. I'll be honest. I want you to do the reading. I'm going to show you a bunch of demos and examples that are not from the textbook, but it's on the same topic. And then you'll see the textbook do those same sort of things here a different way. And then you're going to practice it in lab, and then you're going to do a project on it. So by the time you've gone through this stuff, you've practiced it 4 or 5 times here. So hopefully you'll have gotten it by then. We'll have a single exam, a midterm exam. Again, open book, open notes. It's not timed. It does have a deadline, but the goal is it's not high pressure. I've never had an employer tell me I have to do something from memory in a certain timeline. I mean, occasionally there's an emergency situation that things have to get done quickly, but that's the rare case. So most of the time it's, hey, go get this thing done. And they expect me to use my resources to go get it done. That's what I'd like you to do. So I'm not testing you can memorize stuff. And then the final project makes up 40% of your overall score. This is on purpose. You cannot pass the class without passing the final project. We'll talk more about it when we get closer. That makes up 100% of your score. The grading scales should be standard. If you don't turn things in, so this is an online class, you have to turn in gradable work. There's a syllabus quiz this first week. Please do that. If you don't turn anything in, I have to give you an N mark, and if you're on financial aid, that drops you from the class, and bad stuff happens. So just don't. I don't take things late, right? We've got due dates for a reason. You can't do the stuff the following week until you've done the stuff from the previous week. It's all going to build on itself a lot like a math class. The other standard things in here, I don't talk to people about your grades. Go to D2L. If you need any sort of accommodations, please contact the Access Office. They'll send me the paperwork. Happy to talk with you. So what we need to do, because all the quizzes are open book, open notes, untimed, there's rarely other things we need to do, but happy to have that conversation if there's something I can do to support you. Our Academic Support Center is fantastic. This is one of my favorite things about OCC. We have an entire department dedicated to academic support, and they offer no additional charge tutoring. I don't like the word free because technically your tuition and tax dollars pay for it, but you don't have to pay extra for it. I don't actually know if this is for this semester or not, if it's been updated here. But go to Penji to do all the scheduling here. We've got a couple fantastic tutors. Jordan has had my class before. Tim's been a tutor for a long time. Reka is a tutor and also teaches some of our classes. She's fantastic. I don't recall Anila, but again, I'm terrible with names here. I'm sorry. But yeah, take advantage of that. They're fantastic. They spend about an hour long on their appointments with you. As you saw, my office hour appointments are about 15 minutes because I've got about 100 of you this semester. So it's a little harder for me to make long appointments for people. If you have technical issues like Wi-Fi issues, we got a technical help desk. D2L issues, call D2L. If it's content related, talk to me. Other sorts of things. Don't do stupid things with college resources or you lose access to them. It's really hard to do computer classes when you can't log into the computer system. Just be kind for Connecticut. We have a public safety department. If you need anything, contact them. And then our libraries. Our libraries are fantastic. We have this super cool resource I'm excited about. In addition to all the other cool things we have here, we have the O'Reilly for Higher Education access. So if you log in with your OCC login here, I updated my password here. Hang on. There it goes. Yes, update. You can get access to, I think, anything O'Reilly does here. Oh, come on. Wow, this worked for me last night. That's crazy. Let me try that again. Maybe I just screwed it up. There it goes. Okay, so O'Reilly is a very large technical publisher, and they're not really textbooky. They're more like hands-on books for industry professionals, which is awesome. They sell this service to tons of people in the industry. So go here and check out Explore Skills, and you can find just about anything you want here on anything. Hey, you want to find more stuff on Java? Let's go find more stuff on Java. So here's a bunch of resources, and there's relatively recent. They've got a large catalog, so they've got some older things here as we go, but lots of newer things here. Learn Java with projects. This was just from November 23. This one's a little older here, but you can sort through and find something that looks fun on anything tech that you wanted. It's super cool, and the librarians are awesome. They are always excited to help people with research. For me, my goal is to have stuff graded within a week of the due date, not when you turn it in, but the due date. If you've read Rate My Professor, I'm terrible at that. It seems like something bad always happens. It gets me behind, but the goal is to be here. It's going to be great this winter, and I'm hoping to be able to keep up that time. If I'm running behind, I'll let you know. For response time, email, contact, phone, text, Discord, whatever. If you haven't heard from me within 24 hours, please reach out again. My son probably swiped away the notification. My sweet little guy loves watching YouTube Kids on my phone because Dad's phone is so much cooler than his Kindle for some reason. And sure, so I might have just missed it. Please reach out again. You're not bothering me at all. Our tentative schedule for the week. So we essentially go through a chapter a week to start, and then we spend a little bit of extra time in chapter 5, and then we jump a little bit. We get to 7, we get to 11, we come back to 6, back to 8, back to 13, jumping around a little bit here. But starting next week, we have a project every other week. So we have 2 weeks for projects, 2 weeks for projects, 2 weeks for projects, a little bit of extra time. We pretend like spring break doesn't happen, and then that next project here, I can't take the projects late because I'm going to post a solution to the projects after it's due. So I find people tend to enjoy seeing how I would go and solve that problem. And it shows, hey, this is how Eric goes about it here. It works out pretty well. So I've got solutions posted, so I can't take them late. We'll do the midterm review and exam that week. It's not going to take you the entire time, but a nice little catch-up week there. And then on the 27th, we start the final project. That we have the last month of class to do that. Here, we kind of lightly touch on some of these things. We don't get super deep into them. They're topics you'll pick up in another semester. The last week is dedicated just to work time. And you can do this with a partner if you'd like. You don't have to. It's a little hard with online classes sometimes, so I give it as an option. It's not required. And then the last week of class, the 23rd, we'll do final project presentations via Zoom. You'll schedule an individual presentation time. Usually it takes 5 to 10 minutes. You run your code, show me that it works. I ask a couple questions about the code, and we go from there, and we're done. It's relatively painless. You can talk to folks who've taken the class before. It's not too bad. So that's the plan for the winter. I'm looking forward to it. If you have questions or concerns, let me know. You folks take care.